severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, dwarfism, and I think, what's the one where you fall asleep all the time?
Narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy was another one. Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Narcolepsy was in the mix.
Whew. At least there were no trans.
Hello, and welcome to Over the Line, Over the Line, Over the Line. I'm Andrew McLean, and this is John Bird.
It's good to be here, Andrew.
And this is Tony Gump.
It's good to be here as well, Andrew.
He is so dumb. What's up, everybody?
We're not really like that.
No, we're not.
We were playing around.
We're definitely not that serious.
No.
How's everybody doing? That's 2 days in a row right here, baby.
I know. I'm doing great. I'm feeling good, man.
I'm feeling good over here, yeah.
I got this bad thing. Like, I started getting into the tanning bed again, and my back is itching. I don't know if I burnt myself or what.
I'm going to get you something from Amazon.
Are you?
Yes. I'll get you. There's this lotion for like dry skin that I use, and I've got this back applicator. It's got like this kind of rubberish kind of thing on a stick. And what you do is you put a little bit of the lotion on there, and you kind of pat it out. And guess what? Apply it on your back. It feels great. You feel like a new man.
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, it'll go away in like a day or so.
You should come out with your own like baby lotion. Be like Bird's baby lotion, kind of like P. Diddy.
No, I don't think so. Now, Dr.
Bird's baby oil.
How about Dr. Dingaling's?
Dr. Dingling's baby oil. Yeah. Yeah.
Chicks only.
Could put your face on the side of it, or Photoshop like where you cut out you on the bed and put that on the side of the baby oil. What a day it's been. Oh, wow. Just an update. And by the way, I never encouraged anybody to do this.
No.
But we have people that listen to the show that reached out to Bubba the Love Sponge.
No. What?
and told them to add us to the lineup. So
that's awesome.
I did talk. I talked to Lummy, the producer, and he's got our show from yesterday over to Bubba. So we'll see what he thinks. I don't know. Was yesterday a good podcast?
Okay, dude, get real. Every podcast is a great podcast.
I'm just asking. I don't know. I do too much content every day.
I just hope they don't think we were like kissing up to them or whatever.
Well, we kissed a lot of ass yesterday.
We really did.
Yeah,
we really did. And Bird wanted to do a cover photo where we were like in the corner begging Bubba.
Yeah, that was a little too much. But I think what'll happen is we'll be there like, oh, these guys are pretty good. Let me go check out some of their other shows, and he'll be like, man, these guys.
Well, what they want to do is we're going to be the Ultra MAGA show, like we would be their political podcast.
Oh damn!
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I just hope Bubba doesn't get on and be like, that guy washed my car one time and it sucked or something. You know?
You know what? If it gets listeners, yes, put on your little car wash suit.
Yeah. Well, the next step is to get him on this show.
Oh, yes.
You know, I mean, I just need him to zoom in. Like we can promote the upcoming documentary and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. It's been a crazy day, just less than 24 hours after we split up yesterday. We had this plane crash, which was crazy. Yeah. And the way we are, I mean, as soon as it went down, I know Tony and I were probably thinking the same thing, and we're like, okay, who set this up? Like, we're so used to things being, like there's more to it than meets the eye, that you kind of was like, okay, was this deliberate?
You know what? It's sad that you have to feel that way. But if you look at what's happened the past few years, how can you not feel that way?
Yeah, anytime a plane's down, I always think, who was on that plane, you know?
And it happened, it covered up the news cycle when it came to Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard's, and really RFK Jr.'s second confirmation hearing. This got most of the coverage, where we had major confirmation hearings going on today. and the news channels weren't really covering it all that much.
Now, do you think that's good or bad that we had an event like this with a plane?
I mean, I think it's bad. So like 60-something people died.
Oh no! Oh God, no, no! That's not what I meant at all. No.
Okay,
I mean,
tell me what you mean.
I mean, with an event like this happening, as tragic as it is, an event like that happening, overshadowing.
Oh, are you asking me if it's good that the confirmations were overshadowed?
Yes.
No,
God.
no.
Okay.
I don't think it's good. I think it'd have been better because the senators, in particular the Democrat senators, ended up making themselves look like jackasses.
Yes.
So it would have been better for the country to watch that as a whole. And plus, you had Donald Trump come out and do some press conferences and everything else based on this plane crash, and it's just weird.
Did he sign an executive order
for
about air traffic controllers and them being qualified?
Yeah, well, and he signed something this afternoon related to investigating DEI and seeing what kind of damage DEI has done.
How far-reaching is it?
Yeah. Well, and what's y'all's initial thoughts? Like Tony, what was your initial thought when you saw this plane crash?
I thought a drone had hit the plane. Like there was a flying drone and it hit a plane. They were going to use it as some excuse, but then I saw a better video of it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like a helicopter flew right into it." You know?
What about you?
The fact that this was tragic and it was terrible, but the thing that hit me is the fact that the Black Hawk helicopter hit at such a speed it wrapped around the plane. And the plane broke into 3 pieces, but that middle piece, fuselage, it hit it with such force it actually wrapped it around the plane. They were connected.
You can imagine what it was like to be on that plane and see that.
Gosh.
Like that helicopter's getting kind of close. It's getting close. Here's video of it. We don't have a lot of clear video of this happening, but you can see on the bottom side right there. You see the explosion. Here you go. You see the Black Hawk coming in from the left.
Gosh,
and it just goes straight to it. And blows up.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. And there's not a lot of answers.
Couldn't they have seen it, for gosh sakes?
And, well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of different speculation. Like the Black Hawk operators were wearing night vision goggles, and they couldn't see us good with the night vision goggles. If they weren't wearing them, they'd have been able to see the plane better. I mean, they've got all the flashing lights. These planes are equipped with anti-collision technology.
It was in that.
Yeah. Like, how do you...
You wonder maybe the pilot of the helicopter didn't want to be maybe he had a big tax bill he couldn't pay or something, you know?
He wanted to be unalived.
Oh, that would be awful.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, if you're in charge of that helicopter, he went straight towards it.
Surely there was more than him on that.
I think I heard as high as 3 people on that chopper.
Yeah, I heard 3 of them.
And then 67 total between the chopper and the
But there's got to be
plane.
one mainly in charge of steering the chopper and going straight into the plane like that,
And there was a weird route, and there's been a lot of speculation about where this thing came from, where it started, who sent it out. They say it was an annual training thing that they were doing, and I thought, and I reached out to one of my buddies he's an air traffic controller, and he says usually. Because my thing was, I said, how much do you think the training aspect of this went into it? Thinking, you got somebody out there that's green. And he's like, it's not usually like that. He's like, somebody training doesn't necessarily mean they're brand new. It could mean they're practicing or freshening
that particular
up.
helicopter as well. But what about, I'm thinking there was a flight plan. Surely there had to be.
Yeah.
Even if it was a military helicopter, there's got to be a flight plan.
You look at the tracking of the helicopter, and it made some weird movements. Like it kind of almost like it came back around, and I don't know, man. Could it be a tragic accident? Could it be incompetence? I don't know.
I just think it's weird it happened in Washington, D.C., first off. Out of all the cities and everywhere, it happened there.
Yeah, the most secure airspace in the country. Like, because you can't fly a plane or a chopper over the White House or the Capitol or the monuments. Like, this is this is as tight as it gets when it comes to airspace security, and that was allowed to happen. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, my initial reactions would have been way different if it was like Phoenix or, somewhere different than Washington, D.C.
So this plane came from Wichita, Kansas, had a bunch of figure skaters on it, a couple of them Russian, like a famous Russian couple figure skating duo, and several figure skaters and coaches, U.S. figure skaters and coaches. Nancy Kerrigan came out on TV today. It was, I guess, some of the people that she worked with. It's the Boston Skate Club of Boston or something like that.
That's sad.
I don't know, man. It's just, and immediately, here's a funny thing. Trump comes out this morning to the White House press briefing room. And he has a moment of silence and a prayer for the families and the victims and everything else, and then goes into what he's seeing as to what could be the cause. And I started getting text messages on our radio station text line, and people are like, "Oh, I love Trump, but this is not the time. This is a bad look for Trump," and blah 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 blah. And I get it. They were probably thinking he was giving ammunition to the left, but I was like, if you listen to him, like, he's making a really good point as to why this possibly happened. He's talking about the DEI and the absolute craziness that is going on with the FAA in what they're looking for talent-wise. Like, the people they're looking for, it's like, well, what are y'all doing? Here's part of his press conference right here. This is what do you say this was, like 10 o'clock this morning, 10:30? Well, I guess, 10:30. It was 11:30 Eastern time. Yeah, this is from this morning.
Have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities.
What?
Bird, you get a job.
That is amazing.
Shut up.
It says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's.
Isn't that odd that they did that a week before? Like, you're on your way out of office. There's no reason for you to do anything at all.
This is getting stranger and stranger now that you're getting some context with it.
And all of a sudden they're like, hey, can we throw in some disabled people at the FAA so Trump can have some, a handicap FAA or whatever?
So they're saying I got a chance.
You got to represent everybody,
So you're saying there's a chance. All right, go back to it.
That's strange.
Program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration. This was before I got to office recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism.
Okay.
Qualify.
Dwarfism.
What about complete paralysis?
That's what I was saying. I was like, what?
complete paralysis,
tube you blow into to miss
missing extremities, speech problems, and dwarfism. Like, what? Can they see over the console to see if the planes are coming?
Now, you know what? I mean, I could see you could get him a tall stool.
The booster seat.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, and I guess, I don't know how far they can reach. I don't know.
They got little arms.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Is it if dwarfs don't they have? Oh, it's just the torso that's normal.
Yeah. Maybe in other parts.
Any of that
based on my experience in driving
They're
Uber.
talking about
and
life shortened from stress, and can you imagine someone like me? Oh my God!
Well, could you imagine the new dwarf on the job? You're like, hey, your life's going to be shortened.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean that.
Well, when Christopher Reeve was in his wheelchair, he could have got a job with the FAA.
That's true. Imagine Superman got in your plane right into the.
Don't you have a connection?
The.
Well, I got kicked out of that bowling alley for dressing up like him.
All right, let's go back to Donald Trump. He's got more to say.
Okay.
Here he is.
For the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation is government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Okay, so, by the way, when he said bullshit, we were carrying that live on the radio. I had to dump it. I wasn't even paying attention.
So Kerry got to it in time.
Kerry caught it, and he was like, Trump just said bullshit. And I was like, well, I didn't even hear it. I don't know how I missed it.
And for the record, you can say that on the air, but it's up to each individual company as to whether or not it's allowed.
Yeah, and I figured, like, if anybody can say bullshit on our airwaves, it's probably Donald Trump. You know, like if that did go across, because our dump button was broken there for a while. You remember how many times it slipped through on you?
Oh, God.
And turns out somebody had cut the delay off. And AJ had to fix that, apparently.
Yeah, I think there was an F-bomb recently.
Yeah, Tony played the F-bomb on the air.
Oh.
I didn't play it.
I had nothing. So I was no longer employed. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it was
Tony.
What was it? Was it the snow day?
Yeah, it was a snow day, I think, and it was in a clip, and it was one word that.
And the guy was talking about a protest, and he's like, "We're going to the F the patriarchy protest," and I was like, "Whoop, AJ dumped that," and he's like, "I did," and then all of a sudden these texts start coming in. They're like, "You didn't dump it," so it went over there.
Oh man!
And again, 2 or 3 times it happened with you because that's how far back the inability of the dump button working was.
And you can't tell.
No.
I mean, it's red. You dump it and you see it reacting, but maybe they had it on bypass or something.
So over the past 6 months, I have let more words that aren't allowed slide on the air than probably anybody at the station.
Well, so you think that's why I got let go?
Maybe. I mean, I doubt it, but
well, if you're going to get busted for it, at least Trump said it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one that we actually did dump. Even the other ones that got through. Anyway, so the list of disabilities. This is from the FAA's website. This is a screenshot of it. National Outreach Program for Diversity and Inclusion. People with Disabilities Program. The People with Disabilities Program ensures that people with disabilities have equal federal employment opportunities. The FAA actively recruits, hires, promotes, retains, develops, and advances people with disabilities. And if you go down to the list of targeted disabilities, this is who they're looking for in particular, okay? That list includes hearing And in parentheses, it says total deafness in both ears.
What?
Vision, in parentheses, it says blind. Missing extremities. Partial paralysis. Complete paralysis. And epilepsy. Imagine all those flashing lights at the airport and you got epilepsy. Severe intellectual disability. Psychiatric disability. Dwarfism. And I think, what's the one where you fall asleep all the time?
Narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy was another one. Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Narcolepsy was in the mix.
Whew.
At least there were no trans.
The one disability they didn't put on there was gender dysphoria.
And you know what? I would that would probably be at the top of my list. Is if I had to select one, that would probably be the one.
Yeah.
If you go look at the FAA directors and their videos that they would put out like on social media and on the websites and stuff, trying to recruit people, it kind of all begins to make sense. Like this guy. This guy is, I think this was last year. They were making their pitch to new recruits to work for air traffic control. Here's what he says.
Hi, I'm Brad Mims, Deputy Administrator at the Federal Aviation Administration. We are looking for the best and brightest to join us as air traffic controllers. We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives to handle the ever-changing aerospace landscape. I'm calling on students and alumni from HBCUs, Hispanic serving institutions, and tribal colleges to apply now to become air traffic controllers. I don't want anyone interested to miss out on this amazing career opportunity. Make sure you complete your full application during our application window. The short application window ends on May 8th. We need a diverse, next-generation air traffic workforce with people from all backgrounds. So apply now.
Apply now. You know who he didn't mention? He didn't mention white people. There was actually, there was a piece done on this where they were taking the test, like the initial test that white applicants were taking, and they were throwing them out and then putting them at the back of the line and allowing minorities to go ahead and advance. And again, hey, if you took a random white guy and you took a random black guy and you said, hey, each one of y'all perform the duties of air traffic control, I mean, there's just as much of a chance as the black guy, could do the job better. But when you're hiring based on the color of someone's skin or their background or their heritage, there's a much higher chance you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get the wrong guy. You got to look for qualifications. And skin color is not a qualification.
I wonder, is there any kind of testing they go through, or do they just like, you're hired, here's your trainer, Bob?
Yeah, they have a test, and it says ethnicity, and if you mark anything except for white, you pass the test. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I just wonder how many paralyzed people they actually did hire, if any.
I would like to see a full paralysis air traffic controller. I mean, just for a minute. I just want to see it. Like, I don't want him to actually do the job. I just want to see him do the job for
could you imagine
30 seconds.
Stephen Hawking, like in the control tower, just like move to order, kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, because they have it now where you can stare at the screen. Can't you stare at letters? I mean, seriously.
Imagine the pilots are like, air traffic control, I can't understand you. Air traffic control, could you repeat that?
I'm not gay.
Put those guys up on air traffic control.
Man.
Oh, tragic situation, though. I mean, if you go back and you look at the people, now forget the hiring of the air traffic control people. If you go back and look at Biden's picks for these positions, his pick for the FAA, I'll never forget this. He gets in front of Congress because it takes a confirmation and all that.
Right.
And one of the senators, I guess it was Senator, or was this a House hearing? This is a House or a Senate hearing. This Republican senator has a list of questions for this guy. And they're simply normal aviation questions that if you whether you're in the Air Force or you work for the FAA or you at least are a pilot, maybe you're just a regular old pilot that flies one of those small planes, you would know most of these because these are on the test that you take in order to get your pilot's license. I want you to listen to this Biden's picks response to these questions.
So, Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an
Mr.
ESP
Bud.
transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
That's okay. We'll just keep going. So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
And so what are the operational limitations of a pilot flying under basic med?
Senator, I'm not a pilot, so
But obviously you'd oversee the Federal Aviation Administration. So any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So, it's not having anything to do with blood pressure. So, can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
Okay.
are
let's keep
you?
going. What are the 3 aircraft certifications the FAA requires as part of the manufacturing process? Quickly, please. 3 aircraft certifications.
Again, what I would say to that is that one of my first priorities would be to fully implement that Certification Act and report
You know the
back to
3
this
types,
committee.
Mr. Washington? The 3
No.
types? Okay. Yeah, that's type certificate, production certificate, and airworthiness certificate. Okay. All right. Let's just keep going, see if we can get lucky here. Can you tell me what the minimum separation distance is for landing and departing airliners during the daytime? Mr. Washington.
I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
Are you familiar with the difference between Part 107 and Part 44809 when it comes to unmanned aerial standards? Unmanned like drones, are you familiar with the difference?
Yes.
Okay, you know the difference between those 2, Part 44809 and Part 107? Do you know the difference there?
No, I cannot.
That's okay.
spell that out.
Wow. Jeez. I mean, he knew nothing. Nothing at all.
That was really bad.
Do you know what airplane runs on? Magic, I believe. I mean, gosh, he didn't know. I mean, I didn't know him either, but hey, I'm not in charge of the FAA.
That's like taking a football player and making him the manager of a baseball team. He had no idea what was going on.
You know what that reminds me of? I'm sending you an email real quick, Tony. That reminds me of I think this might have been out of Tampa. It was somewhere in Florida. I think it might have been Polk County. The police were doing a press conference, and they had a sign language interpreter over to the side that was, doing sign language for the press.
Right.
And they found out that he was just signing gibberish. He didn't know sign language.
Oh, I remember that.
I
yeah.
remember that.
And so I guess they canned him. Well, I think they end up doing it again and hiring somebody else who is also doing gibberish. That's what that reminds me of. Like, that guy is not, qualified to run the FAA, but he's pretending to. He came up and he's like, yeah, I'm totally qualified. I'm a black guy. Sit me up there.
Fake it till you make it shouldn't apply with any of these jobs.
Yeah, this is a perfect example right here of fake it till you make it.
It's happened again. Another sign language interpreter accused of signing total gibberish. This time it was at the police news conference announcing an arrest in the Tampa serial killings.
We will be charging 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Standing off to the side, apparently translating every word, this woman.
We received over 5,000 tips in this case.
But it turns out much of what she was signing was nonsense. She waved her arms around like she was singing Jingle Bells, says one outraged sign language expert. The woman, identified as Derlin Roberts, has a string of arrests for fraud.
Oh my
So
gosh.
how did she come to be translating at last week's high-profile police news conference?
I just didn't ask enough questions.
Tampa Police Public Information Officer Steve Hegarty told me the woman simply showed up out of the blue and offered her services.
Oh my God.
What?
Wow. And then there was another one with the same police department. Another guy that was like just doing gibberish. And I'm like,
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I actually I can do my name. Look at this, John. But I shouldn't be up there doing it.
oh, what else do you know in sign language? I figured that was it.
Yeah, that's a bad one. Oh, wait. This.
Which is
I love you.
gotcha.
Oh, and then there's this one. Do that one.
Do it.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's the Dr. Dingaling.
Yes, that's the Dr. Dingaling sign language.
That's the sign language for sign up to my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
That's just crazy. And that's a DEI hire, I guess, or just
Well, I don't.
he didn't even.
No, he said she just showed up and they let her do it.
God.
So it was more like a charity case. It was like, oh, she's black. We can't tell her no.
They just show up. They get to do it.
Yeah. I'm black and I'm qualified. What else? You had Kash Patel on Capitol Hill today, as most of the country could have guessed. Democrat senators were losing their ever-loving ish because Kash Patel is dangerous. Here's Amy Klobuchar, who cannot maintain herself. Maybe it's that time of the month. I don't know. But Amy Klobuchar is not having a good day.
Before I call on Senator Lee,
Could he just answer the question if he said that the FBI headquarters where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism should be shut down and open as a deep state?
Hey, Mr. Chair.
As a museum. Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
Mr. Chair.
I deserve an answer to that question. He is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry. You got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Mr. Chairman, I am quoting his own words from September of 2024. It is his own words. It is not some conspiracy. It is what Mr. Patel actually said himself. Facts matter.
You forget that you had 3 minutes in the next round to say what you just said.
Okay.
Whoa. Chuck Grassley, Grandpa getting a little testy there. He's like, shut up, bitch.
Could you imagine waking up next to her every morning, like, go get the trash or whatever, you know?
Oh, that'd be awful.
Oh, hell on earth.
And so that was the women doing that towards Kash Patel. But then on the other side of Capitol Hill, Tulsi Gabbard was being treated the same way by the men. With this guy, Michael Bennett, a Democrat out of Colorado. He is also on his period as well.
Do you believe, as the chairman of this committee believes, as the vast majority of members of our intelligence agencies believe, that Edward Snowden was a traitor to the United States of America?
It does sound like that.
Senator, if confirmed
This
as
is when the
Director
rubber
of
hits
National
the road.
Intelligence,
This is
I
what-
will
this
work
is not-
with you to make sure
This
that
is
there is
not
not
a
another
moment for
Snowden-like
social
leak.
media. It's not a moment to propagate theories, conspiracy theories, or attacks on journalism in the United States. This is when you need to answer the questions of the people whose votes you're asking for to be confirmed as the chief intelligence officer of this nation. As my colleague said, this is not about you. It's about the people that serve the intelligence agencies of the United States. Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America? That is not a hard question to answer when the stakes are this high.
Senator, as someone who has
your
served
answer,
in
yes
uniform,
or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America.
How dare he talk to her
As
like
someone
that?
who has
I'll go on
worn
to
our
my
uniform
questions.
in combat, I understand how critical our national security
Apparently
is.
you don't.
Shut up!
Apparently you don't. Let me
Casey
ask you.
Jumper.
I love her.
Master guy murder, you on drugs?
Gosh.
Drugs are bad, guy.
Edward Snowden, come on. That movie came out years ago.
Like, why are you asking her what she thinks about a movie? That's so dumb.
God.
That's because the rest of us all know he's a hero for bringing us the truth. We knew he were spying on us, you know?
Yeah, really. I mean, at the end of the day, she's kind of right on that topic. Here's some of her. I think this was some of her opening statement right here, and she just lays it all out. I mean, she did a phenomenal job today.
Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Yeah, bring
She
it.
was, man. You think back on that, Tulsi Gabbard was put on a terrorist watch list because she was going after Kamala Harris. After being a nominee for the Democrat Party, I mean, not a nominee, but a candidate in the primaries, she's just, man, what a home run pick that was. Not to mention she looks like a member of the X-Men.
She broke up with the Globalist Club. I don't think she has anything to do with them anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably the biggest reason I think that she's very qualified, she's very pretty.
Yeah. I mean, it's not every day you get a pretty CIA director.
Yeah.
Or DNI, should I say.
She means business. She got that, like you said, the X-Man gray streak going. You kidding me?
Yeah, she would be good, man. It's no longer business as usual, and that's what the people of Washington need to understand is, like, you've gotten to run the show for decades now, all right? We had our last opportunity to really set things straight and put the power back in the hands of the people was JFK. And what did they do to him? All right? And then here Trump comes along for the second time. They tried to do the same thing because they knew Donald Trump was going to be finishing what JFK started.
Yep.
And that's where we are right now. Wow, that was brilliant. Can't believe I came up with that.
We're going to cut that clip and play the shit out of it all over social media, so get ready. Tony, mark that.
Mark it,
Mark
Guzzy.
it.
All right, so who else do we have? Oh, RFK was back on Capitol Hill today.
Oh, yeah.
Talked a lot about him yesterday, and maybe the moment of the day came when he was going up against Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, remember yesterday he was flipping out about the onesies. He was like, you can sell these onesies on the internet. Today went a lot worse for him. Like it was much worse because he was I think what do you say? He was calling RFK a sellout or something, and yeah. Anyway, so RFK finally says, "You know what? Enough of this," and he just drops a Moab not just on Bernie Sanders' head. He dropped some Moab on the entire Senate panel.
Yes.
It was a beautiful thing to watch.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
No. I thought that would come. No. I'm a president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in the industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
justify.
It wasn't that much. It was just 1.5 billion.
You know what should have happened at the end of that? I would have liked for RFK to stand up and rip his shirt open.
That would have been good. Can we go back to Bernie Sanders real quick and just mute him? But I want y'all to watch his mannerisms when he gets fired up. Okay? So this is
single largest.
What I'm seeing, yeah, just mute that tweet. So if you watch him, he looks like an orangutan when he gets angry. It's the no shoulders, it's the long arms, and he's like, oh, I'm a chicken from workers.
I'm getting a lot of Larry David vibes, too, when I watch him. Yep.
It was another totally $1.5 million.
Gosh.
Anyway.
I mean, that's a Muppet right there.
He really is.
Actually, that's one of the two old men from the Muppet Show.
Look how angry he is. Look at his eyes.
Pharmaceutical companies. All right, everybody ready? At the count of three, let's do our own Bernie impressions. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
1.5 million.
That was pretty good.
That was good. He was on. Remember when he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and Lex Friedman asked him the obvious question: "Hey, you're Mr. Anti-Capitalism, yet you've got 3 homes, and you're a millionaire. Like, how exactly did that happen?" Oh yeah, here's a clip right here. This is Bernie Sanders answering that question from Lex Friedman.
Since running for president, you've often been attacked, especially from the right, about being worth, I believe, $2 million and owning 3 houses. So from my perspective, the answer to that is most of your wealth has been earned from writing books and selling those books. And you are one of the most famous politicians in the world. And so your wealth in the context in comparison to other people of that fame level and other politicians is actually quite modest. So what's your response usually to those attacks?
Do I own 3 residences? Yeah, I do. I live here in Burlington, Vermont. We live in a middle-class neighborhood. Nice house. Guess what? I'm a United States Senator, and I own a home in Washington, D.C., as do most senators. You know, you live there year after year. When I first went to, actually, when I was in Congress for 16 years, I rented all the time. But I got elected. Okay, you got a 6-year term. You know what? Let's buy a house. So we bought a house. And guess what? Like many thousands of people in the state of Vermont, I have a summer camp. It's a nice one on Lake Champlain. That's it. Now, how did I get
the money? I've got 3 houses. That's it.
Where's the third
2
one?
best-selling books, including this book on capitalism. It was New York Times bestseller for a while. And also another book was a youth book. And I make, I don't know, $175,000 a year. And that's more or less how I became the zillionaire that I am.
That's one big joke. The word mansion is used, and I think your residences are quite modest, at least from my perspective.
Oh, Dave, who's that? Lex Friedman. What a tool bag. Why is he sticking up for this guy?
I'm still waiting for the third. He
said it was a summer home.
Oh, that's the third.
I got a summer home, just like every other average working class American. I got 3 houses. It's a big deal. I made all my money from selling my books.
Well, I just find it ironic. He makes money off of these books, which is capitalism, and he writes about being anti-capitalist in the book.
Yeah, shouldn't you be giving the books away? How did you make money off the book?
Go to China and try and sell your books.
I I sold a book. Come and see you now. No. I've only got 3 homes. Lex Friedman's like, yeah, your homes are very modest. It's like, shut up,
You
dude.
know what? It's fun to do Bernie.
it's so ridiculous. But anyway, that's kind of what went on Capitol Hill today. And one of the people that didn't get to report on what happened today was Jim Acosta.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh,
You know why?
I miss him.
Because he quit. And then they moved him to the graveyard shift, and he just quit. He took his ball and went home. We've actually got an update on Jim Acosta on what he's doing now. This is his new venture, Substack or something.
Hey guys, it's Jim. And let me just say this, I've had quite the day. But as you could see earlier today, this was my last day at CNN. And I did want to jump on Substack Live here for a moment and say, welcome to my new venture. I'm going independent, at least for now. This is just the beginning, but I wanted to invite you to join me here on this platform as we talk about the day's news, talk about politics and so on. And I do want to, just in case you missed my closing message earlier in the day.
We did.
Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to fear. Hold on to the truth and hope. And we'll keep this conversation going. Great to see all of you here. We'll talk some more soon.
You know what's interesting is I don't think I've ever seen him smile before. Like, see how he's kind of smiling at the beginning? I've never seen that out of him.
Well, I'm sure there was an advisor that told him that. He still sounds like an announcer when he talks. I'm here at home just relaxing. People don't want that anymore.
Yeah, it's still
they
a
want
fake
people
smile.
they want people that sound like you.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of an announcer. I think that's true in radio. I don't think people necessarily need to hear like super professional radio voices anymore.
Like who?
Like, I don't know, Richard Dixon.
I can't believe you said
But I think Richard Dixon.
I kid.
I think he's probably did talk normal at one time, but he broke whatever that was.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
because that way.
That's the way he talks all the time.
It's like when you make faces and they say your face is going to get stuck that way. Richard Dixon's voice got stuck that way.
Yep. I wonder what he sounded like before.
He sounds like he's on the radio. Even when we went bowling that one time, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna do good at bowling," or something. It's like,
Look, I got a strike.
Yeah. He's a character. We got to bring him back on here. Last time I asked him to come back on the podcast, he was like, "Pedro, I've already done your podcast twice. I'm not doing it again." I said, "Okay, fine."
maybe he felt like he went out on a high note on the last episode. Maybe. That's a thing.
Or maybe he thinks he's a rock star or something. He said, "Hey, I finally got rid of the producer, Andrew McLean. I'm a big shot now."
We need to bring back. We need to bring back AJ.
AJ.
We need to bring Val back too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Andrea say she wanted to come back or something?
She did. And I reached out to her the other day. She's had a lot going on. I thought what would be good is if we got Lindenberg and Jessica at the same time. But then that would take John Bird out of the picture, and I don't want to do that to him.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. Cut to him, please.
No, I don't know what we'll do. We'll get some guests in. You're supposed to be talking to your buddy Bill Bubba Bussey to bring him on the show now that he's a free man and out of radio.
Yep.
Yeah, not to mention now, Bert, if you need employment, you can just employ for the FAA because they're taking anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd probably have to move.
You don't even have to know about flying, apparently.
No, you could do the Birmingham airport.
I will tell you one thing. On a related note, I have decided, I even did research at like 2 a.m. a couple of days ago. I'm going to jump out of an airplane.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Really?
I've even got a GoPro. I'm going to put that thing on my head because, they charge like $179 to a video. I'm like, no, I got my own GoPro.
You don't need to jump out of a plane. That's a bad idea.
Well, I mean, I don't really have a bucket list, and I thought, well, everybody's got that in their bucket list, so I put it in there. I can't take it out.
Don't jump out of a plane just to do something. Like you come up with something else. We can put something else on your bucket list.
Roll out of the bed.
Like
no, man, I want to be up in the sky. I want to do something that's going to get my blood going.
Why don't you do a bungee jump?
Oh, hell no.
I feel like a bungee jump is safer than jumping out of a plane.
No, only 1 in 100,000 chutes do not open.
And
now that would be safer than driving, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
And bungee, it's 1 out of 8.
That your parachute don't deploy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't need a parachute on a bungee.
Oh, no. That the bungee breaks and you die.
That's not 1 out of 8.
Yes, it is.
Well, you figure,
those are factors. Those are factors that I got from Six Flags Over Georgia because they have one.
Say, how often do parachutes not deploy while skydiving? Fail. Yeah, fail. They fail. How often do parachutes fail when skydiving?
1 in 100,000. Check it out.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
On average, 1 in every 1,000.
That's BS.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
On average, about 1 in every 1,000 skydives experiences a parachute malfunction that requires the use of the reserve parachute.
Okay, well, see, that's different. I'm talking about nothing works when you're.
So the next question is, how often does reserve parachutes fail?
Yeah.
And then do the map on that.
Yeah, it ain't gonna scare me.
That number is 1 in 1,000 as well.
No.
That's what it says.
It doesn't say. It does say.
Oh yeah, that's still the same stat. That's 1 in 1,000.
See, it's 1
All
in
right.
100,000.
So how often do bungee cords fail?
I'm doing both parachutes real quick.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
You just want to prove me wrong, don't you?
One in every 1,000 jumps. It says. Yep, still the same thing.
So I guess it's okay. So Bird might be right. If it's 1 in 1,000 for the first parachute, 1 in 1,000 for the next parachute, technically that's 1 in a million for both of them.
Okay, now do bungee cords.
All right.
Do bungee jumping.
I'm not doing that. I'll do
How
it if you
often
will.
do bungee? How do you spell bungee?
Bungee.
Bungee cords break while bungee jumping.
1 in 8.
When bungee jumping, you bungee.
Once per jump. What?
No, you didn't put fail. You got to
Oh.
put fail in there. How often do bungee fail while bungee jumping? According to available data, bungee cords very rarely fail during a bungee. 1 in 500,000 jumps, John Bird.
Okay, but all right. Okay, all right.
Just do the bungee jumping.
No, type in how many people die from heart attacks when doing a bungee jump.
No.
Because you're going like down to the ground and all that. When you got the parachute, you don't just go straight down.
You do it first.
You glide. You glide down to the ground.
Oh, my God. You're going to have a heart attack before you pull your parachute because you're plummeting towards the ground.
No, okay. You start out on average around here at about 120 miles per hour. Okay? By the time you're towards the ground, it's 17 miles an hour.
Just do what you want to do. Die. If you want to die, just die.
I'm not going to die. I'm going to live. For once in my freaking life, I'm going to live.
Heart attacks while skydiving are rare for people who are generally healthy. However, people with pre-existing heart conditions are at higher risk.
See?
But that's for skydiving. You're talking about bungee jumping.
Yeah, well, they probably don't even have that statistic. They're trying to hide it. The bungee people are trying to hide it.
This says, according to available information, heart attacks while bungee jumping are extremely rare, with only a handful of documented cases. It's even more rare than skydiving.
It did not say that. There was no hard
Skydiving
facts.
is rare. Bungee jumping is extremely rare.
No, see, I mean, that's just, I mean, what is that? Is that the Bungee Corporation or something?
It's got a low fatality rate. The overall fatality rate for bungee jumping is considered very low, often cited as around 1 in 500,000 jumps.
Okay, well, here's the deal. You see above there, it says, what is it, AI overview?
It's AI trying to convince you to bungee jump?
Yep.
Okay. That's fair enough.
I'm still going to do it.
Anyway.
Now, I do remember with 9/11 with the Twin Towers that I had read somewhere where a lot of people would die of a heart attack before they hit the ground.
Yes.
The people that jumped.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd probably have a heart attack, before I hit the ground.
I would.
Which is exactly like skydiving.
No.
Just
when you
without a
pull- When
parachute.
you pull it, it goes, and you go.
All right.
That was fun.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah, we do.
Tony Gump, you got some final words, buddy?
Yeah, final words. I'm never going skydiving or bungee jumping, so I don't have to
either.
worry about that. I'd rather have my Tesla drive myself and take my chances, you know.
Yeah.
But make sure to stay positive. We got to get Cash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr. put in. These are very important, so let's keep focus on that, and hopefully that'll be done by next week.
There you go. John Bird?
You know what? If you're 61 like me, I want you to make a pact with me right now. Let's go bungee jumping to get, no, not bungee, Freudian slip.
Oh, God.
No, screw it. I'm not doing the bungee. But I've got a place. Alabama Jump Systems. Let's go there and let's jump out together. And let's do one of those things where everybody holds hands and you're in the circle and you're going around like that. Because, you know, I love everybody and I like showing love. You know what? Everybody message me on Facebook and let's do it. Let's prove that it's safe. Because, you know, in this life, I played it safe most of my life. And look where I am. I'm shit. I mean, I really, let's be honest. So, you know what? I'm trying to shovel that out of the way. I want to clear the path to enlightenment. And I think it starts with jumping out of an airplane at 4,000 feet.
At 61.
At 61.
Fair enough. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you, guys, for another successful episode.
Thank you. And if I were to do anything like that, it would be one of those rooms you go into and they have the air where you're only like 10 feet off the ground, but it
I do
like
one of those.
skydiving.
Practice.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. My balls are itching, so if you have any kind of powder or anything you could suggest, I would appreciate it. It's really been bothering me lately.
And until next time. See you, cuz!